So every time I try to stop discussing this case, Miss Lively has yet another trick up her sleeve. So what's going on right now?
Breaking news in the Blake Lively-Justin Baldoni legal saga.
Just when we thought this legal drama couldn't get any wilder, Justin Baldoni just dropped a bombshell motion accusing Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds of allegedly trying to put a hit on him and jump him in a desperate attempt to shut him up. Yes, you read that right. This just went from messy to downright scandalous. Now, we already knew things between these three were a complete disaster. But let's be real, it's been looking bad for Blake and Ryan. They've been getting dragged for filth over this, and honey, their PR team is probably working overtime trying to put out this dumpster fire.
Question?
Oh, hey, Ryan Reynolds.
Hi.
Hey. Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
I feel like the only reason that Ryan Reynolds did this joke on SNL about the drama between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni is because he was scared shitless.
But if you thought they were just gonna take the L and move on, think again. According to Justin's new legal filing, Blake and Ryan aren't exactly trying to handle this in a fair way. Nope, he says they're using intimidation tactics to shut him up. And let's just say, Justin is not backing down. He's determined to expose the truth no matter how desperately Blake and Ryan try to make it all disappear. So what exactly did Justin reveal in this new motion? And how bad is this about to get for Blake and Ryan? Loves, grab your popcorn because this mess is far from over. Y'all, this drama just went from messy to catastrophic. Now, we've got two massive lawsuits going head to head, and this isn't just about personal beef anymore. It's a full-on war to see who's walking away with their career still intact. But just when you thought this couldn't get any messier, boom. Justin's legal team dropped the unedited footage from the movie. Okay, y'all, let's break this down because this drama is spiraling faster than we can keep up. The clip from May 23rd was used as Exhibit A in Justin's case, and y'all, it's telling a completely different story than Blake's version. First thing that jumps out, it's Blake who's running the show, not Justin. She's the one discussing lighting, adjusting blocking, and making creative decisions on the fly. If Justin was the one making things uncomfortable, the footage isn't exactly backing that up. And just like that, this legal battle just got 10 times messier. Now, let's get into the tea. The two of them are swaying in this slow dance scene, music playing softly in the background, when Justin leans in. But here's the twist. He doesn't say, "You smell so good," in the creepy, predatory way Blake described. Nope, his tone is casual, almost playful, and the moment doesn't have the same ick factor she claimed. Does that mean her discomfort wasn't real? Not necessarily, but it definitely complicates her story. What the footage actually shows is a lot of back and forth, some laughter, and Blake casually mentioning her body makeup is rubbing off. Not exactly the tense, unsettling moment she painted in her lawsuit. And when Justin responds, there's no hushed whisper and no lingering touch, just a simple comment. No inappropriate behavior, no overt intimacy, just two actors trying to nail a scene. But here's where it gets really interesting. Blake claims she immediately called Justin out, making it clear his behavior made her uncomfortable. Yet in the footage, there's no visible reaction, no tension, no confrontation, just business as usual. No flinch, no hesitation. If anything, she seems more focused on getting the shot right. Now, does that mean she wasn't uncomfortable? Not necessarily, but it does make her version of events harder to square with what we're seeing. And then there's the overall vibe between them. Awkward doesn't even begin to cover it. There's no obvious hostility, but something feels off. It's that weird mix of forced professionalism and underlying tension, like two people just trying to get through the scene without making things worse. But wait, it gets juicier. Blake had way more creative control than your average lead actress. According to Justin's lawsuit, she wasn't just involved, she was taking over. Allegedly digging through footage after filming Wrapped, looking for evidence in the dailies. And honestly, based on how controlling she comes off in the clips, it's not hard to believe she wanted the final say on everything. By take 3, it was painfully obvious whatever on-screen chemistry they were supposed to have just wasn't clicking. They could barely hold eye contact, and the tension was hard to miss. But even with all that awkwardness, there's nothing in the footage that blatantly points to inappropriate behavior from Justin. And here's where things take another turn. This isn't the only clip Justin's camp has. They're hinting at more raw footage waiting to be released. And if this first batch is anything to go by, they're gearing up to systematically dismantle Blake's allegations. Meanwhile, just as Blake's team was scrambling to control the fallout, the internet did what it does best. Started digging through her past. And when I say messy, I mean seriously bad. Turns out, the so-called darling of Hollywood once casually admitted to doing blackface, like it was just another funny little story. In a Resurfaced MTV interview from 2006, Blake was out promoting Accepted when she decided to share a questionable anecdote from her teenage years. She and a friend apparently thought it would be a great idea to paint themselves from head to toe, and instead of recognizing how offensive that was, she laughed it off like it was some harmless, lighthearted memory. But here's where it gets freaky. The internet hasn't let this slide, especially since it fits into a pattern of racial insensitivity that both Blake and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, have been criticized for in the past. Need a refresher? Let's talk about their wedding. They got married at Boone Hall Plantation, aka a literal slave plantation. Back in 2000, as Black Lives Matter protests swept the globe, Ryan finally admitted it was one of his biggest regrets. But let's be honest, people had been side-eyeing them for years before that. And then there's this interview, leaked voicemails allegedly from Ryan Reynolds started making the rounds, where he's supposedly caught threatening Justin, telling him to stop talking about my wife. Naturally, this sent the internet into a frenzy. Was Ryan covering for Blake, or did he have no clue just how deep this mess really went? But while everyone was busy speculating about how personally Ryan was taking all of this, an even juicier revelation dropped. Justin's own lawyer had once sued him for allegedly stealing a script. Back in 2021, a writer named Travis Flores accused Justin of stealing his script, a deeply personal story inspired by his own life, and allegedly repackaging it as 5 feet apart. And guess who helped Flores file that lawsuit? None other than Brian Friedman, the very lawyer Justin now has defending him. Talk about awkward. According to the lawsuit, Justin got his hands on the script while collaborating with Flores on a different project, and then basically pulled an "oops, this is mine now" move. Shady, right? But here's where things get even murkier. The case was eventually settled, and tragically, Flores passed away last year. So why is TMZ suddenly resurrecting this now, years later? The timing is just too convenient. And let's be real, who else but Team Blake would dig this up right when Justin needs it least? And if you thought the drama stopped there, think again. Blake's team has been coming for Justin with zero chills, like borderline ruthless. When Justin's lawyer lost everything, his home and office, in the LA wildfires, he asked for a simple extension. Team Blake's response? A cold, hard, not our problem. Meanwhile, Blake's team is working overtime to control the narrative, pushing headlines that paint Justin as the bad guy. Their strategy? Make sure the casual gossip crowd sees "stole a movie" and immediately jumps to conclusions, because let's be honest, no one is sifting through a 200-page lawsuit. A single messy headline is all it takes for public opinion to turn, and Team Blake is counting on that. But here's the twist, it's not going according to plan. Instead of destroying Justin's reputation, their aggressive approach is starting to backfire. The more they go after him, the more people are giving Blake and Ryan the side eye. And let's talk about Ryan Reynolds for a second. Watching him get pulled down with this mess is rough. Like, sir, we liked you, but standing by this disaster, not a great move. And just when you thought things couldn't spiral any further, boom. A late night voice memo leaks to the press. Turns out, Justin left Blake a 6-minute long voice note during pre-production for It Ends With Us. And let's just say, it's explosive. The Daily Mail was the first to get a hold of the memo, claiming it stemmed from a heated debate over script rewrites. But here's the kicker. No one seems to know exactly when this late night rant was recorded, and even more interesting, nobody is claiming responsibility for the leak. Justin's team, who's been more than willing to spill tea when it suits them, is suddenly radio silent on this one. Meanwhile, Blake's camp wasted zero time running to the Hollywood Reporter to shut down any suspicion, insisting we had nothing to do with this. Right off the bat, it's pure panic mode. First of all, a 2 a.m. voicemail like this, that is never a good sign. If a man is apologizing this much, he knows he messed up. But the real question is, what was he even apologizing for? According to Justin's own lawsuit, he was never on board with Blake rewriting the opening scene. He claims he only caved because she basically strong-armed him, casually name-dropping her husband, Ryan Reynolds, and her bestie, Taylor Swift, aka two of the most powerful and loaded celebs in the game. And the situation only gets stranger when you realize Blake wasn't even engaging with him at this point. Apparently, after Justin initially expressed some hesitation about her script changes, she completely ignored him for days. Eventually, she broke the silence with a short email, simply stating that his feedback didn't sit well with her. That's when Justin hit the panic button. I'm referring to the 2 a.m. voice memo, a long-winded message practically begging her to stay on good terms with him. At one point, he even goes off on a tangent about how unfair Hollywood is to women and how he completely understands her frustration. So, what's the real takeaway here? Honestly, it just makes both sides look even more chaotic. Justin can't seem to decide if he's the remorseful, understanding director or the helpless victim of Hollywood power players. Meanwhile, Blake's team is probably scrambling over this leak because it flat out exposes just how much pull she and her inner circle actually have. But the biggest revelation, this legal showdown is only going to get uglier. And let's be real, if this is the kind of dirt that's already making its way to the press, imagine what's still being kept under wraps. Now, nobody's saying Justin is some innocent angel in all this, but if we're tallying up the shady moves, Blake's camp is running laps, manipulating the public, pushing smear narratives, playing the victim while orchestrating ruthless behind-the-scenes tactics. It's giving PR nightmare. According to Justin, Blake and Ryan are panicking harder than we know because they have allegedly been trying to bully him into dropping his lawsuit, but he has been standing on business. He even claimed that they tried to get him jumped when he refused to give in to the pressure, and that he was lucky to escape without much injuries. Yeah, something tells me that this is about to get even messier, but what are your opinions in this messy drama? Let me know in the comments. Till next time, bye.